Dan, do you know who we are?
I do.
We are media fuckers! Woo! Men online.
Spoilers ahead for Tenet 2020. I don't want to start off negatively, but I just had to watch this movie recently. So I watched that at about 3 a.m. this morning, and I am just miserable after watching it. I had to take multiple bathroom breaks, even though I didn't have to use the bathroom, just standing over the toilet. Like, come on, there's some in there. Just to get away from the goddamn screen, because this movie, I feel like they had this brilliant idea on time travel.
Spoiler, it was not brilliant.
No.
It was incoherent and stupid.
Most time travel is pretty stupid, but this is a whole new level. So
this might be the dumbest time travel movie ever made.
It's got to be up there. Armed with only one word, Tenet or Tenant or T-Net, and fighting for the survival of the entire world, a protagonist. Yeah, he doesn't have a name. They call him protagonist through the entire movie. Journeys through a twilight world of international espionage on a mission that will unfold in something beyond real time. Well, IMDb, I will give you this. You made this movie sound interesting with that synopsis. I will give you that. Written and directed by Christopher Nolan, stars John David Washington, Robert Pattinson, and Elizabeth Debicki, which was the only part of this movie I enjoyed, was her, for obvious reasons.
Okay, yeah, you got a point there. All right, so the movie is now up to a 2 out of 10. I was gonna go 1.5, but you convinced me it's a 2.
Yes.
The action for the first half of the movie, I'm like, okay, it's a poorly acted action flick, and then the second half, I'm like, oh, it's also dumb. It's too dumb to be like an 80s action flick. If you thought Terminator Salvation, oh, this makes perfect sense, this is really well thought out, you are still gonna think this is dumb. I don't know. I'm just gonna say it. People on the internet who are arguing about this movie, and there are real people with hands and a face who type with their fingers and look with their face and then hit submit that this movie is brilliant and Christopher Nolan is a genius. And I just say, having watched Justice League, this is the dumbest thing Christopher Nolan has ever done. Okay, and I loved Inception. I thought most of what's the one where he's going the other time travel one where he gets in the bookcase and does the hand thing to make the dust fall into a barcode.
Oh no.
Not Inception. We were talking about it before we started recording. It's the one she just had to turn figures out how to turn gravity upside down and saves humanity because there's nothing to eat but corn.
Isn't that this movie?
No. No, it's the one where they're in space.
Oh, I haven't seen Interstellar. That's why.
Oh my God, you haven't seen Interstellar. Well, if you think this movie's dumb, you will also you will think that Interstellar is slightly less dumb. I didn't realize I gave you all those Interstellar plot points out of context, but they don't make any more sense in context. There's a machine that makes you go backwards in time. Now, that in itself is a pretty cool idea. What they do that messes it up is oxygen works backwards. You have to wear a mask while you're out there, but you can still see. So why do photons go forward when you're back in time, but not oxygen? Fire makes you cold because thermodynamics is reversed. What if a thing that's backwards is on fire? Does everything around it get cold? How does that even work? Friction is backwards. So they're driving a car, but they drive it forward. Wouldn't the car go backwards if friction's backwards? How do guns go off if fire works backwards?
Yeah, and when you have to pull the trigger backwards.
Yeah, and then and then the bullet you can also throw stuff. The bullet jumps into your hand, which was really cool. I thought they were gonna try and do something with that, but they don't go any further with that. They're okay, that's a cool scene. Let's ignore the rules behind that and to do something else stupid. It has a couple of cool looking scenes when the cars look like they're driving backwards because the people are in time combat. That's a really good idea. But then they undo it by saying that fire works backwards. Well, it's a combustion engine, dipshit.
But every time you try and put gas in your car, it just pulls the gas out. So it doesn't matter. The cars wouldn't drive anyways.
Well, what you do, Dan, is you drive backwards over a puddle of gasoline, and it all goes into your car.
Oh, since you drive, oh, that's how you solve the
Yeah,
energy crisis. You just drive backwards, and all the gas is created.
yeah. The cars are pulling carbon out of the atmosphere, Dan.
Do you want to try and take a crack at this plot? Like, try and explain it because.
Okay, so the protagonist, who they use as a name because he is too boring. I mean, I think what's going on with the protagonist is that he is just hating life because he knows how dumb this is. But also, like, he's getting paid Christopher Nolan money. So, like, what are you going to do? You're going to do the movie. That's what you're going to do. The protagonist, his entire team dies and he is tortured, not for a real reason. When he wakes up and say, listen, we had to put you through this and let everyone you know die because we wanted to make sure that you were in with the plan. And he's like, yeah, okay, I'm in with the plan now. That's a good reasoning. I'm with you now. This makes sense.
Now I trust you.
Yeah, I trust you, person who let my team die and let me be tortured, because you had a really good reason. What's the reason? We're not going to tell you. I'm still going to trust you. I'm going to trust you on this vague thing. They show him a hand sign and says it's really important. Go. This could be a crime. They could be getting him to steal a nuclear weapon for a terrorist. Plot twist: they are, but they're doing it for a good reason. This terrorist needs the weapon in order to trick him into giving up a different weapon, because the future is attacking the past. Now you might be saying, what about the grandfather paradox? They mention that and say, but hey, they don't agree with that. Next question. Christopher Nolan decides the grandfather paradox doesn't matter to the future. I can't describe the rest of the plot.
Yeah, so the algorithm is what that metal thing is called. It's essentially the plot device, right?
Oh my God, I forgot about the algorithm.
Activating it will delete any past versions of people, which is kind of what you just mentioned, but
it makes the entire world run backwards.
Right.
But does it make the sun work backwards?
Yes.
In the future, someone figures out how to make the entire world go backwards.
Mm-hmm.
And she's so brilliant, no one else can do it. So she breaks the algorithm. She breaks the solution, I guess. Is it a machine or a solution? They make it seem like it's a solution, like a thing you think about. And then she sends it back in time.
Yeah, and then it's a physical item.
Instead of just, like, deleting her hard drive or whatever. It's broken up into pieces, so she has to put together like this. It's like a Roblox dildo that you have to put together to, like, destroy the world. And so they take it apart. They don't explain why you can't just destroy it. Can't you hit it with a hammer?
And at one point they say if you take it and separate it, then the guy is just going to rebuild it or something, because he can go back in time anyways. So what you just did was pointless.
You have to hide it. You can't destroy it because he'll go back in time and undestroy it.
Yeah.
But won't he just go back in time and unhide it?
Right.
Like, if you can hide it, you should be able to grind it up into a dust and send it in the atmosphere like a mist.
And blast it up your ass.
Why don't they just hide it on like one of those rockets they send to another planet?
But then he can unsend the rocket.
Yeah, like they have like the telescope that's circling the Earth. Just like have someone sit there and just throw it. Like, you're not gonna go get that. It's somewhere between Mercury and Uranus. Go find it, dipshit. I mean, no, he's gonna go back in time and find it there. Fuck you. No, he's not. There are a few cool scenes, like the protagonist puts on an all-black suit and gets into a fight with himself. But because the rules that they follow are dumb, the fight looks dumb. But there's one cool scene. Hell. One thing they do well is a person themselves going forward while they're going backward in time looks like someone who's moving backwards, someone who's going forward in time.
Yeah.
That sentence, I'm pretty sure, does make sense if you don't think about it too much, and it makes for a cool action scene. But then they throw all this other bullshit on top of it to ruin it. But they do have a couple of cool scenes where the protagonist fights this guy who's all blacked out. Like, this guy comes out and just like attacks him. He sees it, and then they get into this big fight. The guy tries to shoot him. He gets sucked through an explosion backwards. So an explosion pulls him out of the room. And so then he goes to the machine to go backwards in time. He puts on a suit because you can't, like, breathe the air. And he goes backwards in time to stop himself from ruining their plan. And an explosion throws him through a door, and he's attacked by himself going forwards in time. So then he has a backwards fight, but he knows what he's gonna do to himself, so he's like he can see the past because he was in the fight. He tries to unload the gun because so that he can't shoot himself. His past self can't shoot the current him. But he tries to unload the gun into the face of his past self as opposed to just into the ceiling. But I guess that explains it because like forces are backwards. They have to punch backwards. I don't know. It makes no sense.
Yeah, like would I beat myself in a fight if my other self was going backwards? No, because I'd be so irritated. I'd lose my concentration.
So I liked the backwards. I liked the backwards kung fu. I like the rule of the guy when he was going forwards in time. From his perspective, someone started attacking him because the other guy was going backwards in time. From his perspective, he was trying to end a fight. So at the beginning of his fight, he was attacked. At the end of his fight, he disengaged. But the other guy going backwards had the perception of someone attacking him. That I really enjoyed, and I like the cars going backwards thing. Did you like the cars going backwards?
No, I hated every second of this movie.
Oh, you hated it more than me. Oh my god, this is great. Oh,
well, except the thing that I really liked, and I made sure to put notes in here about this, was like towards the end where the blonde is on the boat and she's wearing the Austin Powers from The Spy Who Shagged Me. She's wearing that bikini set.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed that.
So
I'm serious. That's all I liked.
I enjoyed the car. I enjoyed the car thing. From the perspective of someone going backwards in time, the car is going backwards to them. So to follow it, they had to drive backwards to the car.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
To me, there are 2 scenes worth watching in the whole movie. But the movie is like 2 hours long, and those scenes are like 4 minutes total.
Yeah.
So the juice is not worth the squeeze.
It is a 2.5 hour movie, and it felt like 4.
Oh, it's 2.5 hours. Okay.
Yeah.
But like the acting is so bad.
All the dialogue is cringe. Like
it's the worst.
You just like it makes your skin crawl. Everyone everywhere will be destroyed if he succeeds with his plan, including my son. Yes.
yes.
Everyone. Oh, I put everyone everywhere all at once will be destroyed in my note. You can't drive a boat like this. So the girl is married to the main villain, and she tries to kill him while they're all riding on a boat. She unlatches his seatbelt, and he goes flying into the water. Our protagonist guy, he goes back to get him because he has
call him Steve. Oh my god.
Yeah, Jeff. Yeah. He goes back to get him. She's like, you can't drive a boat like this. And he says, you can if you have to. This is the kind of dialogue we're working with. And every single action scene in this godforsaken movie sounds like you're in a fucking rave. It's all like robot trance music blasting your fucking ears. Do not wear headphones if you're going to watch this movie. Okay, first of all, do not watch this movie. But if you're going to watch this movie, do not wear headphones. Another thing,
so that Dan could suffer, so you didn't have to suffer. This movie is revenge for all those Halloween movies I had to watch.
Yeah, right. Pro tip for you, Christopher Nolan: if you're going to use ADR, you may want to shoot a shot where the actor you're dubbing, where his mouth is actually moving. You probably want to do that if you're gonna shoot ADR.
Okay, but Dan, see, you don't understand. See, Christopher Nolan's like really brilliant. Sound works backwards when you're going backwards.
Oh, that's it. His mouth didn't have to move.
Yeah, exactly. The sound's already come out, so we didn't need to move his mouth because the sound had already come out.
On the boat where the Austin Powers bikini chick is, she's going to kill the main guy. So they need to stop the main villain guy from killing himself so he doesn't kill everything. So she ends up killing him, right?
Mm-hmm.
In the worst, like least believable bullet trajectory, like as he's lunging forward towards her, she pulls the trigger, which would have shot him like towards the abdomen area. It's like in his upper chest near his esophagus is the bullet hole. She could be standing there with the smoking gun and CSI would clear her because the bullet trajectory was literally so unbelievable. But I guess the bullet went backwards or something, right?
Yeah.
It was already in him and then she pulled it out of him with the gun or something.
Yeah. I want to ask you about a specific scene. I want to ask you about a specific scene where like he has to like unthrow the bullet.
Mm-hmm.
What did you think about that scene? Like just when you were watching that, what were you thinking?
Yeah, I thought like you're talking about when he was with like the British chick in the beginning.
Yeah, the scientist who.
Yeah, I thought
she should have been the protagonist,
except with a name. Did she have a name?
Who cares? This movie is. I'm not going back and looking. Yeah, I'm pretty sure she had a name.
Okay, good. We're gonna call her Barbara. I was concerned and excited at the same time because I'm like, oh, okay, this could be pretty cool. But then my brain immediately went to why? Why is this a thing? Why are we doing this? Like the effect of it looked cool, but I immediately was concerned.
This could have been like a really weird movie to take apart if the acting and dialogue weren't just so bad.
Yeah. Like, this is worse than any of the Halloween movies, easily.
Yeah. I mean, at least you know why they're running from the guy with the knife in the Halloween movies.
Yeah.
But like the opening where like he's tortured and he's like, yeah, okay, I'm gonna trust you completely and get on this helicopter. Like, what?
Okay, I'm gonna have a brain buster for you when we're ready for our verdicts. But I'm
out of notes. I'm out of patience. The only thing I can say is like repeating myself again of please don't watch the movie.
Yeah.
But if you do, put us in the comments why anyone likes this. I would like an explanation for why someone likes this. Because it doesn't have a 1 out of 10 on IMDb. There are people who voluntarily put higher numbers on IMDb.
I'm going to give this a 0.9. Terrible, awful movie. It's not the worst movie I've seen this year, but it sure as hell is close.
I'm giving it a 2 out of 10. The action scenes bring it up to the 2 out of 10.
Do you want to know what other movie came out in 2020 that we did?
Yes.
Is The Last Days of American Crime. So.
Okay. This movie isn't as bad as The Last Days of American Crime.
It's close.
Well, it's an hour too short to be that bad.
Yeah, that's fair. Oh my God, what a terrible movie. Yeah, bad acting all around, especially from the main character who occupies 80% of the freaking scenes. I was telling you this before we started. If I would have seen this movie before Amsterdam, I wouldn't have watched Amsterdam because of the main character. There are some accents that are we run through this a lot when we do bad movies, but there are some like foreign accents that are attempted and just completely forgotten. Like they try them for a little bit and then just bail. They're
mess with me, bro.
Yeah. Are you ready for this bullshit?
I'm ready.
510,084 ratings on IMDb specifically for a 7.3 out of 10.
Oh,
go fuck yourself. This movie came out September 3rd, 2020. It made $58 million domestically, $303 million worldwide for a total, or international for a total of $362,261, and $27 million worth of Blu-ray sales. Are you fucking kidding me? $27 million worth of Blu-ray sales on this movie.
I watched this because it showed up on, I think, HBO Max just like as a movie to watch, and I was like, oh, I heard this was like a dumb action movie. I could use a dumb action movie. I wasn't planning on doing some podcast. It was so bad. I was like, I went on to I was like, Dan, you would not believe how bad this movie is.
I'm redeemed for at least 2 Halloween movies at this point. For this one. God damn, I'd rather watch that whole Halloween series, the one back, than watch this one.
Yeah, this is worse than like Halloween Ends or Halloween Forever, what it was. Where, like the one where like the entire town got into a fist fight with him.
Yeah.
And then he survived being crushed or whatever.
Absolutely. This is one of the worst movies I've ever seen, and this is definitely one of the worst movies we've ever done on this show. It's close. I mean, there are some that are definitely worse, because The Days of American Crime was like a 4-hour piece of shit movie, but
between this,
we got some bad ones.
Between this and all the DC movies he's doing, Christopher Nolan is falling off harder than M. Night Shyamalan.
Yeah.
his movies are getting more worse than M. Night Shyamalan. Everyone said The Village was dumb. No, this is dumber than The Village.
Yeah. Oh yeah, easily.
This is dumber than Village. The dialogue is worse than Nicolas Cage's The Wicker Man. Have you seen The Wicker Man?
Yes.
Yeah. It's not a fun watch.
Oh, Nicolas Cage being in this movie would have made it pretty decent. Because like if him just being ridiculous, I wouldn't have tried to think about the time travel as much.
If Nicolas Cage was the bad guy,
yeah,
just like rolling down the window like, I could eat a peach backwards for hours.
The peach would eat me.
The peach could eat me backwards. I'm gonna put a bomb backwards in the middle of an airport.
Now here's the real question. Do you out there like this movie? If so,
But
let us
first,
know
leave
why.
a comment.
All right. On that note, we will catch you guys later.
Until next time.